It's her first cookbook, and I'm going to be making sweet potato gnocchi with brown butter and sage. And I've never made gnocchi before, so this should be interesting. But I do love gnocchi. There's actually a restaurant here in Houston that does all-you-can-eat gnocchi like once a month, and then it's different sauces, so the waiters walk around like the different sauce bowls, and they just they're like, do you want to try it with the pesto? Do you want to try it with the pomodoro? Do you want to try it with the marinara? And you're like, yeah, sure. So that's really good. I'm excited to be trying it on my own. But yeah, it should be good. I've never had a sweet potato gnocchi, and because it is just kind of very starchy, I'm also going to be doing meatballs with it, and I'm going to be using my own meatball recipe with this. So the first thing we need to do is, okay, it says pierce the sweet potato all over with a fork, wrap in a damp paper towel, and microwave on high until it's very soft. 12 to 13 minutes, which is like kind of a lot. So let's start with that. So I've got my plate. Whew. God, I am sleepy. See Cocoa Bear in the background. I just got a new puppy. She's not a puppy, she's like 7, but yeah, so I just got a new puppy, so I'm kind of tired because well, she slept really well last night. I was very worried about how she was sleeping, so I was like, every like 30 minutes I was like, is she okay? Is she okay? Meanwhile, she's just like snoozing on my lap. Yeah, she was. You were just snoozing. Okay, so I'm just like poking holes in these sweet potatoes. You just get them. What, Coco? What you doing? What you doing? Okay, so we're gonna take these and I put them on a plate, and well, the camera is like right in front of my microwave. So I'm gonna microwave these for a good 12 to 13 minutes, and then we'll be back. Okay. So I made my meatballs. I make a pretty good meatball, but this is an Italian, dish. So we're gonna be making an Italian style meatball. So first things first, I am going to chop my onion. Hey, Coco. How are you doing? Are you okay? What's going on? Coco's new. So you can't really see her in the frame, but she's like by my feet. She's a little mini Maltipoo. She's so cute. Yeah. She's basically like, hey, are you gonna drop food for me? Like, I would love to eat some. Even though you have food. Yeah, she has food. She's fine. Okay. So I'm gonna do kind of a fine chop on the onion, because what I like to do with my meatballs is I like to basically just I pan fry them basically in Coco. You're fine. What are you doing? I pan fry them in my iron skillet. So I'm gonna chop these really finely. That way they mix in with the meat really well, but then also they cook all the way through. Because you don't want to have raw onion in your meatball. That would not be good. So just giving this kind of a dice. And then also I have some corned beef garlic. So the corned beef garlic will mix in really well with the meatball, and it'll be really, really good. And it'll give it that nice flavor. So then we've got our onion, our garlic, and then we'll do salt and pepper. Of course, always salt and pepper. A little bit of the roasted red chili flakes, or crushed red pepper flakes. And then we will also do a little bit of the Parmesan Reggiano cheese. Ooh. couple more minutes. Okay, so do this. Chopping these onions pretty finely. Like I said, wanted to have it a good, nice flavor. Onion flavor, but not raw onion. You don't want raw onion in your meatballs. So giving this a good chop. I did 1 small onion. So 1 small onion per 1 pound of meat seems to be a pretty good ratio. That looks different. Cook is just walking around. She's like, what are you doing? Why are you talking to yourself? Okay. I think we've got, it's a pretty good dice on this. So I'm going to put this in the bowl. Oh, found a big chunk. Okay. Put this whole diced onion in my bowl. And then next I'm going to take this garlic that we have. This is clumpy garlic. It's in the same cookbook. And basically I'm going to kind of mush it up a little bit. They're still whole. And I'm going to take the oil, the reserved oil, I'm going to just stick it on the onions. Because that'll add a good garlic flavor. Okay. So I'm going to take my knife and I'm just going to try to like kind of mush it a little bit. See, this is why I wear an apron, because I just basically squirted myself. So some of the smaller cloves got a little crispy. My oven, this is the first time I made it this way, and my stove top gets really, really hot, really, really quick. So some of the smaller ones got a little crispy. So I'm gonna kind of crush it and then kind of chop them up. That way we can make sure that they get nice in. So you don't have to get it like too chopped up, but what we're gonna do though, what's gonna happen is I mix my meatballs by hand. And that way everything gets really incorporated, really nice. So the next part is I got my onion, I got my garlic. So the next part I'm going to do is add my meat. So again, I use grass-fed meat. This is also at 85/15. So the 85/15 is really good for cooking. It still has that nice fatty flavor, but it's not gonna be like greasy or anything in the pan. Okay, so put that in. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick. Okay, have a sip of wine because we're doing Italian. Okay. Now, for the seasonings, to bind it, you do an egg. So egg straight in. Rinse your hands off again. No one wants salmonella. Okay, so then we're gonna do salt. And I do salt, pepper. I do all my seasonings to taste. Like if a cookbook ever comes out of this, I'm gonna be like, I don't know, like a tablespoon, a teaspoon. I mean, like, I don't know, just shake it a bunch of times until it looks good. So a little bit of pepper. And I like my food spicy as well, so that's also kind of a downfall of mine, but. So I always put a couple dashes of cayenne, like, because I just like my food kind of spicy. So we'll do that, and then some crushed red pepper. Gonna throw that in there. And then I know we have the roasted garlic and the chopped onions in there as well, but I'm just gonna throw in some onion and garlic powder just to kind of make it a good flavor. Okay, so. And then the last couple of things we're gonna do is a little bit of Worcestershire sauce. And I really like to cook with this when it comes to meat because it kind of brings out that meaty flavor without overpowering it. So I like that. And then because we're doing an Italian kind of style meatball, I'm just gonna put maybe like a 1/4 cup of grated parmesan, reggiano cheese. And then I have sage and I have thyme. So I'm gonna put both in here. And I'm doing sage and thyme. I don't typically do sage and thyme in my meatballs. If anything, I'll put basil, but my basil was kind of bad. But I'm gonna do that because there's sage in the brown butter sauce that we're gonna make. That goes with the gnocchi. Oh, hi, Coco. Coco thinks she's found some little nom-noms. Coco, your dinner is over there. Your dinner's over there. No? Okay. Okay, so I'm just kind of breaking apart this time. Again, depending on what style, hi Coco, hello sweet girl. Depending on what style meatball you make, depends what spices you put in it. So if you're doing, you're fine. You're so fine. What's the matter? You're okay. I'm cooking. We gotta cook. Have to cook. So depending what style, oh my gosh. Ooh, it smells good. You're okay. She's a cuddle bug. She loves some attention. And normally that's good, but when you're cooking, every time you touch the dog, you have to touch your hand. So it's like, oh, I don't know what to do. I know, I'm so sorry. I love you too. I love you too. Yes, I do. But yeah, so if you're doing kind of a Italian style meatball, you want to do Italian style, Italian seasonings. I know. Do you like Italian food, Coco? No? Coco doesn't care. And then, if you're doing, whatever style of food you're doing, that's the type of spices you put in your meatball, which sounds, you're like, obviously. But, some people don't know that, so it's worth mentioning. Coco. Okay, so now I just mix it all together. I literally just put my hands in these meatballs. Like, I cannot. Go lay down. Go lay down. She's super cute. Oh my gosh, she's the cutest dog. She is literally the cutest. We had a really good day today. We did. We went on several walkies. Yes, we went on 3 walks. Yeah. So she's doing pretty good. Okay, so I just kind of mix this, and like my onions are kind of chunky still, but that's fine. So mix this up, and then, oh my goodness, Miss Coco, what are you doing? Okay, so I'm gonna wash my hands again. So now my timer dings, so I'm going to check the gnocchi, or the sweet potatoes for the gnocchi. I'm going to give them another, like 3 minutes. So, okay, well that's kind of going on for the meatballs. I kind a nice brown color, and they just taste really good when you get a nice, when you do it in the cast iron. So I'm gonna put it on kind of like medium to medium low. This is the garlic oil. It's in the same recipe book. So I'm gonna do a little bit of this garlic oil, kind of coat the pan and let this heat up. Okay, and then lay down. What are you doing? Oh, Coco. It's okay. Okay, get my tongs out. Let's see. Okay, so like I said, I have an electric stove, so this gets really hot. The cooking temps really just depend on your stove, honestly, is what I found. So you're like, it's not cooking, and be like, well, turn it up. I don't know. Okay. Give that a few more seconds. Hi, Coco. Okay. Seems okay. Okay, so we're gonna do. He's okay. You're okay. Go eat your dinner. Okay, so I just do it by hand. I take about that much. I mean, it's probably like it's a good sized meatball. It's not too small, not too big. It's about 2 bites. So I'm gonna start sticking in there. And you don't want to overcrowd the pan. Like, this will happen in several batches. So that's why I'm doing the meatballs first, is they're gonna happen in several batches. I can't pet you. I have meat on my hand. She's this little teddy bear, and she's just like, why are you not petting me? Like, I know, I can't. I have meat on my hands. She probably wants some meat, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Oh, my goodness. Okay, so one kind of, I think it's a 10-inch, one 10-inch cast iron. I probably put, I don't know, let's see, it's 5, probably like 7 meatballs, and then we'll cook them. You can kind of hear them starting to sizzle a little bit. So what I like to do is get a good, nice sear. Oh my goodness. Can you hear her? She's so cute. Okay, so we're gonna get a good, nice sear on those. So I'm gonna wash my hands and we'll be right back. Okay, y'all, so I am browning these meatballs and they smell delicious. So I don't put breadcrumbs in my meatballs, so they're not the most stable. So if you're gonna go and turn them and stuff, tongs, very gentle, but as long as you're gentle, they're fine. Oh, Coco wants back up on the bench. Okay, so real quick, I'm gonna show you kind of, oh my gosh, there we go. Show you, they have a nice brown color, but I do a hard sear and then turn them down. And then that way they get really cooked on this inside, but they still stay moist. So, yeah, so I'm gonna cook off the rest of these. Oh, she got up there. That was really high for you. How'd you get up there? Very graceful. I did not know that. She's this big. She just like hopped up on this bench that's like 22 inches high. Anyways, okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna keep cooking these off, and so the recipe for the gnocchi says to microwave it for a good 12 to 13 minutes. I did about 20 because I had some big old honkin' sweet potatoes and I could just tell they weren't soft in the middle. So I did it for 20, and while I'm cooking the meatballs, the sweet potatoes are cooling in the microwave. So it's really good timing if you struggle with time management and cooking, kind of think about stuff like that. So while I was microwaving the sweet potatoes, I was mixing up the meatballs. And while I'm letting the sweet potatoes cool enough to where I could touch them so I can mix up the dough for the gnocchi, I'm cooking the meatballs. Because what we're gonna do is the meatballs, I'm making enough meatballs for a week. Like, I'm not gonna eat a whole pound. He's so cute. Hold on 1 second. Say hi, Coco. Say hi. Oh, okay. I love her. She doesn't know how she feels about me yet, but that's okay. So while I'm cooking those sweet potatoes are cooling, and I'm making enough meatballs. Oh, I just got splashed in the eye. I'm making enough meatballs for a whole week. So I'm going to use these with whatever leftover gnocchi I have. I'm going to use these with salads. I like to do a raw tomato, cucumber, and shallot salad with whatever kind of cheese I have kind of around. I like to do that for lunch during the week. So I'm making a lot of meatballs. So this will take me a good like 20-30 minutes to get them all like seared and cooked off. But what I'm gonna do, and you'll see later in the video, is I'm gonna take, I feel like 3 meatballs is a good serving size. So I'm gonna take the 3 meatballs that I'm gonna cook, or I'm gonna eat with my gnocchi, and I'm gonna put those in the sauce too, and cook those with the sauce. So these will reheat back up. And that's really all you want. They'll still be kind of warm. So I'm not too worried about these getting cold before I eat them. So yeah, I'm gonna cook off the rest of these, and then I'm gonna let the sweet potatoes cool, and then I'll be back to make the actual gnocchi. So stay tuned. Okay, so I finished off my meatballs. Kind of cleaned up a little bit, and then I peeled the potatoes, so all we have is just the potatoes. And I started my water boiling, and I put salt in it because you want your water to be salty. You want it to taste like the sea, as my chef friend says. So did all that, and so the next step, got my sweet potatoes, is to add the ricotta. So it says 1/3 cup, but I'm also doing 2 sweet potatoes, so I'm just gonna add what's left of this tub that I bought last time I went grocery shopping. So that should be fine. So I'm gonna add this. I love ricotta cheese, y'all. Like, ricotta cheese is, oh my gosh, it's so good. I don't know why either. Like, it's like, I don't like cottage cheese. I don't really like cream cheese or anything, but like ricotta cheese, oh yeah, love it. Super good. Okay, so we're doing some black pepper and some salt. And Chrissy Teigen's cookbook calls for a lot of kosher salt, not regular table salt. So I did actually go buy kosher salt, even though what I typically use is the 59-cent from Kroger. So I went and bought it to make these videos. I was like, I'll buy the kosher salt, it's fine. Okay, and then it says 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour, but I also, it's boiling really quick. I'm also using an extra potato, so I'm gonna do about 1 cup, so. I'm gonna start with 1 cup and I'm gonna see where we go. Okay, so. Sure, that works. Kind of see where we are. Okay, so basically it's 5 ingredients, and then mix together. I mean, wait. I was supposed to add the flour like a little bit of it at a time. So it's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm gonna actually, what I'm gonna do, because I messed up and I put all the flour in at one time, is I'm just gonna kind of hand mix it, and then that way I can kind of feel how it is. And then I'm just gonna, the flour went to the bottom of the bowl, so I'm just gonna kind of hand mix it and then add the flour off the bottom of the bowl as I need. But yeah, definitely flour is supposed to be a little bit of at a time, so don't do what I did. Which actually, okay, it's not supposed to be, well, it's not really actually mixed up. Okay, it's kind of forming balls. It doesn't look very well mixed though, so we want it to be very well mixed. I still have clumps of flour and I still have clumps of sweet potato, so I just want to kind of mix this a little more. I actually might need more flour. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think I need a little more flour, so get this gunk off my hands and then wash them. It's about another half cup because I did do an extra sweet potato, but I'm also gonna just do, like the recipe said, and just do a little bit at a time. So, okay, we did that. And it said to do it until it's not sticky, so it's getting there. Okay, so it's getting there, so I think we're good. The next step is I cleaned, between cooking the meatballs and starting the gnocchi, I cleaned my cabinet, or my countertop. So basically the next step is flour your countertop. I have granite, so I'm just gonna do it straight on my granite. If you have tile that has like grout or something, I would do it on a cutting board, but if you have like a solid kind of surface, then you can do it straight on. Okay, so it says knead, and she said the more you knead it, the tougher it gets. So we're just gonna try to knead it here. I'm gonna move this so y'all can kind of see. I have a galley kitchen. I'm shooting this on an iPhone, so bear with me, but you get the idea. So we all know what kneading dough means. Okay, so you're just gonna knead it. Kneading means you're gonna take the dough, heel of your hand, and just kind of push it in. And she says to do it about like 10 times or until it stops getting sticky. So you can see I am turning it every time that I do it. So you just want to turn it. Mine is still sticky though. Mine is still sticky. I don't have enough flour in there, so I'm just gonna put some more flour down. I'm gonna rub it. What does Hannah Bread talk to? Just, yeah. So we're just gonna get, so the kneading, when you put the flour on, it slowly works flour into it without kind of adding too much, right? So we're just kind of folding this in. It's still, every time I knead it, it gets sticky, but the outside isn't really sticky until I really press into it, so we're getting there, right? We're really getting there. I'm just gonna put a little more of this flour down. See, the dough is pretty firm, so we're almost there. We just don't want it to be sticky, because sticky means starchy. right? I think. I'm not a baker, but I watch a lot of Great British Baking Show, so Great British Bake Off is what they call it over there, but apparently in the US that's copyrighted, so you can't do that. Okay, so I don't want to overwork it, because if we overwork it, it's gonna be too much, right? So, okay, so the recipe says, well, it says the less flour, the more tender, but it also says not to be sticky, so I got myself in a catch-22. Okay, so it says divide the dough into 3 equal parts. So I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. I don't have a scale. You know the saying, you only have a scale like that if you're really into baking or really into other things. Just kidding. My mom will watch this and be like, hell, really? I don't know, you sent me to that high school. Like, I had a great time. Actually, I was so nerdy in high school. Oh my gosh. I was so nerdy. Like, we had a dude, this is way TMI. We had a dude pass out. And I thought, I was like, oh my God, he's really sick. And everyone was like, no, he's high. And I was like, what? I was so bad. Anyways. Okay, 3 even parts. We have these orange balls because they're sweet potato. Okay, so what are we doing? We are on a floured surface. We're gonna roll this out into a log. So we're gonna roll this out into a log, and then and you want these to be even, right? Just common sense. You want the log to be even, because when the log is even, what you cut out of the log, the gnocchi, it's gonna cook then evenly. So if the log isn't even, then you go and cut your gnocchi, then your gnocchi, like, some are gonna be overdone, some are gonna be like underdone, you know. So I'm gonna take my little paring knife and I'm just gonna cut what does it say. It says 1-inch pieces. So, right, okay. I'm gonna cut these. Now again, some of you are like, oh my God, you're cutting it like on your granite. Granite is really hardcore. Granite is formed in the earth. You okay, Coco? Coco woke up from her nap. So as long as you're not digging into it, you can cut on your granite. Just don't like dig into it. I know, oh, I cut that one wrong. Oh well, it'll be fine. Okay, so I've got these like little 1-inch by 1-inch dough pillows. So it says and I'm gonna do this in batches. So I'm just gonna kind of stick these in. And again, I am by myself besides little Miss Coco, but she can't eat any of this. So it says no, you cannot have this, no. Okay, so I'm gonna wash this off my hands real quick. And then it says to stir. Okay. So it says to stir after a minute to make sure they don't stick to the bottom, because they are really starchy, and if you've ever burnt pasta, burnt your rice, like, you know what I mean. So I just want to kind of make sure they don't stick to the bottom. And I'm doing these in batches because if I use my stock pot, then you can kind of see what I'm doing, but you can't see what I'm doing because of the steam anyway, so it's fine, whatever. I'm gonna get my strainer out. But also, this is like my meal prep for the week. Like, this is what I'm doing. And they say that, like, I'll be eating on this all week. So then it says that they don't really take that long to cook. So they should be cooked after a good, like, 4 or 5 minutes. So then I'm just gonna strain them, leave them in the strainer, and then when that's done, I'm gonna take them out of the strainer and I'm gonna put them into the brown butter sage sauce that we're gonna make. So letting these. So funny story, I got these on Brandless, which is it's a pretty good site. Like it's not groundbreaking or anything. This is a pretty good site. So I got these, and then like literally 2 weeks later, I went to Target and Cravings by Chrissy Teigen, whose recipe we're doing, literally had her new cook line out, and it was almost identical. Not quite, but almost, which is pretty funny. Okay, those are almost done, so we're gonna go ahead and kind of get this one started. So gnocchi is really good. It's basically like dumplings, honestly. I find, you know, Padma Lakshmi has a show on Hulu that I really need to watch. It's on my list. I just haven't had time. But she goes into the history of American cuisine, and I find that absolutely fascinating. Being from Houston, and my mom is from, you know, kind of the deep South, just where you get the recipes and why that some cultures who are, you know, worlds away from each other, why they have such similar cuisines, and then you get into the history of it of, oh, well, you know, this group conquered this group and this, you know, not to get into all that, but like I find it fascinating because you really do have such, you know, a way to connect with each other through food. And so I do find that fascinating, because for this recipe, now that I'm thinking about it, this is chicken and dumplings. Like, I didn't think about how you make a dumpling, how you make a gnocchi, but like, it's chicken dumplings. I mean, if you're from the South. So it's just you're using a potato. So I think that's really interesting. Sorry, I'm watching Coco. She went back to sleep. She's so cute. I find that super interesting. So, okay, I'm gonna take this first batch out. And they do puff up. They do puff up. Okay. Okay, so we dumped our water out when we kind of rinsed that. So it'll take a little bit for this gnocchi, or this water to come back up to boil. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut this, and then we're just gonna do the last 2 batches together. Which is probably what you're supposed to do, but I didn't feel like cleaning my stock pot because that gets tiresome. Okay. So got these, so we're gonna let this come back to boil. While we do that, I'm gonna roll out my last third of this dough, and we're gonna let this boil. And then while we do that, when we come back, what I'm gonna do is the sauce, and then it'll be done. So this has been a quick and easy meal, honestly. People think that gnocchi takes a long time, and I am very much finding out that it really doesn't. Yeah, it's pretty good. So I can feel when I roll this one out that some of the sweet potato hasn't quite been super mashed up, but that's okay. It's my first time. Cut these off. But yeah, like I was saying before, I find it really interesting. Like, these gnocchi are very reminiscent of dumplings, you know? So there's a lot to be said for cuisines of the world and how we've traveled, you know, the human race has traveled around the world, and cultures that have been you know, shared along the way. So I find that part of cooking really interesting. So, you know, there's a dark side to it for sure that we all know about, you know, now, especially after 2020. I think we've all gotten a lot more educated, but it also is pretty fascinating. And I think, you know, this is how my grandma makes dumplings. Is how you make gnocchi. I didn't know, so I was like, gnocchi is so hard. And now I'm like, oh, it's how you make dumplings. Had no clue. So, I mean, that's interesting. So, okay, when we come back, I'm gonna finish these off. When we come back, we are going to do the sauce and put it all together, and we're gonna taste test it. Oh, Miss Coco is still asleep, so cute. Okay, so time goes so quickly. I brought this up to a boil, and it's starting to boil, but at the same time, we really want to drop the gnocchi in the sauce as quickly as possible, because the first batch I did is kind of, it'll be okay, it'll be fine, but it's kind of congealing a little bit because it's very starchy. I didn't think about that. So I have in a pan next to my stock pot, I have a whole stick of butter. Oh, yum. A whole stick of butter. Oh my gosh. A whole stick of butter going, because this is a brown butter sage sauce. So I have a whole stick of butter going, and I am just kind of picking off the sage. I live in an apartment, so I don't actually have an herb garden. Hey, if I did, I mean, that's all I would do is, so this is a brown butter sage sauce, and then a lot of the flavor is in the meatballs that we made, and a lot of the flavor is going to be in the actual gnocchi. So I'm just kind of, it says to tear, it's not a chop, it's not a fine chop, it just says tear. I'm going to float these along. So the gnocchi are really delicate. So with that, you don't really want to stir them too much, right? Like, if you stir them too much, they're gonna break apart in the pan. So we don't want to do that. So essentially what we're doing though with the sage, and it says to tear it in as the butter's melting. So essentially what we're doing is we're frying the sage, which has a really good aromatic. My neighbors are gonna hate me because I did not turn on the vent hood, but oh well, whatever. Okay, so we are, oh yeah, so a brown butter sauce, basically it's like before the butter gets burnt, and actually I'm gonna do, always go with clean utensil, y'all. I'm gonna do a half a stick more, just because I forgot I did an extra sweet potato. So we're gonna do a half a stick more, and then this. And I am using salted butter, so keep that in mind. The butter I have is salted butter. Okay, so this is coming to a thing. A bubble? A foam? I don't know. Butter doesn't oil, but it says, is it too high? No? It's good. Okay. So, and then I'm going to move this over so y'all can kind of see what I'm doing a little better. But we're going to, so we're going to move this over, and we are going to, steam burns, y'all, so I just can't really see it, but I just burnt the out of my, okay, so okay, that's what it's doing. Okay, so it says to add the gnocchi first to do salt and pepper, but whatever. I'm just gonna do it first. I think the more seasoning you put in at the beginning, oh my gosh, Did y'all see that? Oh no! I put so much pepper in this. Oh, it kind of like flew out. Okay. Oh no! Okay, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. Okay. So the gnocchi is done. Woo! Yes. Okay. So this is gonna be a black pepper sage gnocchi. Oh, I will cocoa up. Oh no. Okay, so we're gonna let that go, and then we're going to add in my meatballs. So these meatballs, I'm just gonna cook with this. I'm gonna only cook the 3 that I'm gonna eat. But then as the week goes on, I'm gonna eat on those meatballs. And so then it says to add parmesan reggiano. Okay. Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. Oh my gosh, it's a lot of butter. I probably put too much butter in. It's fine, it's fine. Okay, so what we're doing with the meatball is we are heating it back up and we are congealing. I know, Coco, we're almost done. We are sealing in some of those flavors that we cooked the gnocchi with. We're putting those back into the meatball. I used a lot of same seasonings. Oh yeah, oh my gosh. Oh my god. Y'all, I have not been this excited for a dish in a while. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. Okay. I know, Coco's excited too. She had a good nap. Okay, so I'm gonna turn this off. The gnocchi are cooked. You're basically just infusing this butter sage sauce into the gnocchi. So, okay, turn that off, and I'm gonna take them off the heat. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna be so nerdy and get my camera to take a photo of it though. Okay, so if you follow me on YouTube, I also have an Instagram that goes with this channel. So all these photos go with the Instagram, and yeah. Oh my god, so perfect. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna scoop out my meatballs so that I can make sure that I get them and they're not left in the gnocchi. So scoop out these meatballs. Now I will say, oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh yeah, oh yes. Oh my gosh. They're very rustic. If you were on Top Chef, they'd be like, that's really rustic. But I mean, for me, my first try, I'm so excited. So I'm just gonna put a little bit of the cheese over top. And let's see, I'm gonna get a fork. Okay, I'm gonna get a fork. I'm gonna get nerdy and take photos of that bowl later, but I'm just gonna get a fork and kind of, whew, see how this gnocchi tastes. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh, y'all. I made my own gnocchi and it's basically a dumpling. Like, I had no clue. Like, I knew, but I didn't know, you know? They're like, oh, it's a potato dumpling. But the fact that it's literally like so similar to what, you know, my grandma makes when she makes chicken and dumplings. We're almost done, Coco. I just have to let this. You're such a pretty girl. Yes, you are. Okay. Oh my god. Oh my god, I just gained like 10 pounds. Oh my god. Oh, it's still really hot. It's still really delicious. Oh. Oh, Christy girl. 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10. I know you can't have any though. It has cheese in it. It's not dog food, but it's good. It's really good. Chrissy Teigen, 10 out of 10. Sweet potato gnocchi, brown butter sage sauce. Coco's really jealous she can't try it. So highly recommend. I'm gonna go eat this and it's gonna be delicious. So